spring 2004, I had a small breast lump in one of my breasts, and I had it investigated at that point. They thought it was just a cyst. On routine mammogram in October, they discovered that cyst had changed, and then I also had a large lump in the second breast. A little bit different because they were two different types of cancer, so about stage 2. Not really. In the Canadian system, we went to the hospital nearest to us, which is Valley Regional Hospital in Kentville, and it's about a half an hour away. But because of the different treatments that were involved in my treatment, I had to go to Halifax as well, which is the main cancer hospital in the province. And they do specialized treatments there, like radiation, which I had to have. But the chemotherapy I could have in Kentville. I thought I knew a lot. There was always a fear or a mystery behind cancer. It's a fear, so I always feared it. They were very sad, and it was difficult for me to keep a brave face. Lots of memorable things like that. I found my friends organized food to come into the house. The community was very supportive. I had many gifts and cards given to me. Friends stepped in to help babysit the children. My mother was very instrumental in my treatment. She took me to all my treatments. Other friends also went with me. It was a very positive experience that way. The support was amazing. Well, because when I was sick, I really couldn't do a lot. I had a lot of fatigue. I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. I was very active with my children. At the time, they were in high school, the youngest two, and I was always on committees and graduation committees, and I was unable to do things like that. And I pretty well stopped everything. So yeah, that changed. But it all came back after we stopped. It all came back. So that's the good thing. I worried that I would never see my children grow up. That's the biggest one. And my other friends who I've gone through cancer with understand it. I didn't worry about my job. I didn't worry about anything else but the kids. I tried to do things I didn't think I would ever attempt before. I would run for politics, which I did and was elected. And it was something I didn't think I'd ever do. But I served on the town council here for 8 years, and I was very proud of that. I think in ways it made me appreciate my children and my friends a lot more than I had. And the negative things that impacted me, I had been teaching school at the time I had cancer. And I had a very difficult time with my treatments. And then I had some residual effects after, including heart failure. So I was laid up for several years anyhow. But that's not normal. Most people are much better than I was. You just keep going. You just sort of push yourself. I was in 2 support groups, one of which I took training, the Willow support group. I took training to be a counselor and help other people with breast cancer. And they'd have me phone people that were experiencing cancer just with the initial diagnosis, and I would talk them through my experiences and things like that. It would have been, I think, far more frightening because I would have had younger children to have to deal with. Having little children around would have been far more challenging because they need someone to care for them. As far as career, it might have been different too, as far as interrupting it midway. if I was younger. That might have been a concern, but since I haven't lived that, I'm not sure. As I told you before, I didn't return to my career. However, I know many women that did. Some returned full-time to their careers with no problem or bias. Others, because of continued problems with treatment and fatigue, weren't able to continue full-time. I know that for a fact. They only worked part-time after the diagnosis. So I think it's the bias here would be, or the concern here would be, people have a perception that you aren't as healthy or they can't get the work out of you that you might have been able to do before. And that could interfere with your career. I didn't experience it, but I know that people still, they never forget that you've had cancer. So some employers it may color their opinion that so-and-so had cancer. I wonder if she's going to work as hard, or things like that. But I've never encountered it, but I suspect it does exist. Cancer, I'm not as afraid of cancer as I was before. I understand far more about it. It's something I don't want to get again, obviously. I just, the first time it happened, I just fought it right through and fought all the treatments and was determined. And if it ever happened again, I wouldn't change a thing. I would do the same thing. I would absolutely fight as hard as I could to get through it. It shouldn't be as fearful as it was. There are lots of treatments out there now, lots of successful treatments.